Good morning. Welcome back to the Plant Plan, where we eat well for our health and longevity and muscle gain and fat loss if you need to. This recipe right here is going to be one of the cheapest and easiest proteins that's plant-based, right, that you can make for yourself at home that you've ever seen. If you are a vegan, especially if you are a vegan and you're not making seitan, and you're on a muscle building journey or some sort of body composition journey, what are you doing out here? What are you doing out here? Now, you may be intimidated by it, right? You see all of these really complicated recipes online. You see people just like making all sorts of things, that the techniques are all complicated and this and that. It's not that complicated. It's really not. I've been making seitan for years. I've done the complicated stuff. I've done the simple stuff. And in fact, over time, I realized, okay, I don't need to do all this wild stuff. Recently, I saw a video from Plant-Based Dads. I should have the title. It's something like Easy Seitan Recipe for Beginners, right? Something like that. They showed a really simplified seitan recipe. Another person who made a really simplified recipe, and this was several years back at this point, was Natalie Matthews, right? She's also known as Fit Vegan Chef, and she's had several videos with seitan recipes and different techniques, right? What I'm going to show you is analogous to those versions. It's just really simple, ugly, and quick. I'm using the word ugly on purpose, right? The point that I'm trying to make is, if you are trying to meal prep and get her done, you do not need to be Instagram level chefery up in your kitchen, right? It can be quick and easy and just getting the food on your plate. Now, obviously, there is something to be said about pouring love into your food that you are eating, right? That's a fact. If that's something that is very important to you, this might not be for you. But what I'm saying is that for folks with some sort of goal, may that be saving time in the kitchen, right? May that be feeding a family. May that be a simple weeknight meal that is wholesome, that you can make yourself, that is going to save you money and energy, right? Because you're too tired or what have you. Your 9 to 5 is doing what 9 to 5s do, make you go bananas, right? This is the recipe for you. This is the version that you should be trying out, especially if you're not someone who needs to have, something that is visually the most appealing thing, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm making something that looks like trash, but you know what I mean? It's not something that is aesthetics focused. It's something that is nutrient focused. Now, let's get into it. Let's talk about what's all in it. Now, I have several items here, some of which I'm using, some of which I'm not, right? So the simplest way of doing it is to just get vital wheat protein, right? And water. That's the OG method. Actually, the real OG method is literally just getting wheat flour and making a dough and then washing that dough. You'll see that method all over the internets as well. That's the true, like real OG method, right? Where they're basically washing the starch out, and then they're left with mainly just the protein. This is an even more efficient way because it's literally just the protein and you don't have to do all of that work, right? So you're essentially making a dough, essentially, right? And then depending on how you cook it, it can, or how you formulate the dough, then it can make different types of textures, different shapes, what have you. You can use this for burgers. You can use this for deli meat. You can use it for sausages. You can use it for anything you want, any kind of meat analog, or just seitan. I don't know. Like in my head, I'm just like, it's seitan. It's in the shape of this because this is the dish I'm making. Do you know what I mean? In any case, it can be as simple as that, this and water, and then whatever sauce you're using can go ahead and flavor it. That's a great method because then you can just make a whole bunch and then use it whatever or however you want. What I'm doing here is I'm pairing it with pea protein powder. The reason why is that, this is kind of the common knowledge version of this is beans and rice, right? The idea that if you are combining a grain and a legume or bean, then you're getting a more complete or a complete amino acid profile. It's the same issue here, right? So I'm using the protein from wheat and the protein from pea, right? Yellow pea. And that combined will give you a full, amino acid profile. So you have a complete protein. Does that mean that if you just use this, it's not going to be great? It's not that serious. You're eating other things throughout the day, right? And your body is smart. It's going to take what it needs from everywhere and then do what it does, right? As long as you're eating enough and as long as you're eating enough protein, or, perhaps a little bit beyond that enough threshold, right? So that your body has what it needs to do what you're trying to make it do, right? Which is gain more muscle or maintain the muscle you have. But this is kind of an optimized way of doing it. Now, a note on Vital Wheat Protein. This is so ridiculously cheap for what it is and what you can do with it. I have this bulk bag because I be using it. You can go to any grocery store because it's an item that's normally used in baking anyway, right? They to increase food science stuff that happens in baking that I don't know about, but it does stuff with the texture and whatnot. They use it in baking, they use it in making bread, all sorts of stuff, right? So it's a common item. It's not a weird item or whatever. You can go to the grocery store, grab it for a couple of dollars, and you have several meals, right? Like way more than like a pound of beef or something like that. You can make so many different servings, right? Like at least like 20 or whatever for those little, Bob's Red Mill bags that you get or that you can find at any grocery store, right? So it's accessible, it's super cheap, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. You can use pea protein powder. It's becoming more common these days. You could probably find an unflavored, right? Unflavored, unsweetened, regular pea protein powder. You can find this in many stores. It's really high protein content. This one is for every 10 grams of product, you have 8 grams of protein. Okay, we love that. But it may be more expensive than some of the alternatives, one of which is here, chickpea flour, right? Now, the reason why I'm not using it in this particular recipe is that, because I'm trying to show you like a really easy high protein alternative. It will still be high protein, but the macros are a little bit different, right? So for every 30 grams of product, you're only getting 5 grams of protein. That's not that great for what we're trying to do, right? It'll give you a great texture. It'll improve the amino acid profile versus just using the gluten, but we're gonna put this off to the side today, all right? I'm not saying this is bad. I had another video about this. People got up in arms, da-da-da-da. I know y'all love this is great, but this is not a high protein product. It's a product that has protein in it, okay? All right, we had this discussion. I actually filmed a couple nights ago, I filmed a video where I just went on an absolute rant. I think I'm just gonna throw it up because I've been trying to edit it and there's no way to not make me sound livid. So I'll leave it at that. In any case, okay. The other stuff I have here is nutritional yeast, right? This is a great product if you're not using this. I don't care if you're omnivore, whatever, You got to be having this in your pantry if you like seasoning and if you like anything. This, the nutrition reason, right? I mean, it tastes yummy, blah, 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 whatever. The nutrition reason we like to use this is because it's in the name, it's nutritional yeast, very nutritious. It has a great B vitamin profile, right? Which is wonderful, right? Your B12, your B, all the Bs, whatever. The other thing that this has in it is protein. It is a high amount of protein, given what it is, right? And all the things that it can do. It also, there was another creator out here who was doing a very like science-y version of seitan. Came out great. I tried it myself, but I was like, Lord, I don't have 15 years to be making this. But in any case, he found that, you know, depending on the ratio of how much of this you use, you can really manipulate the texture because it tends to soften the dough a little bit. This is beyond what we're doing today, right? Okay, I'm just telling you what we're using. You can use 50,000 seasonings. I'm using this, and this is a dumpling sauce that I got from takeout like a week or something ago. It's salty, it's savory. We're using it, right? Don't throw away all your sauces and stuff. The other day I used soy sauce packets. You can use vegetable broth. You can just use plain old salt. You can use a salted seasoning like your adobo, your, you know, whatever blends, even lemon pepper seasoning, as long as it has salt in it. For my SOS people, my SOS free people, salt, oil, and sugar free people, my friend, this might not be for you, or relax a little bit, put some salt in it. It's not going to kill you. You need your electrolytes anyway, right? I'm not saying to dump all the salt that you have in your kitchen. I'm saying without the salt, you're going to have an issue, okay? You're really going to have an issue. It's going to taste like, you need salt. You need salt in this. Relax. Okay, so for me, the salty element, I'm using just this, like, I think it's, this one is probably dark soy sauce, light soy sauce. I think there's some sesame oil in it. It looks a little oily. And maybe some vinegar. I love using vinegar in this. This for me is actually very important. There are some people who kind of, that gluten flavor, like there's a very faint aftertaste where it's like, this is gluten. And it's not something that really, it's not something that really like affects the flavor that much, but if you have that, if you can kind of tell that, then vinegar is just a splash of it will really just knock that right out, for real. So I always recommend adding just a splash of vinegar in there. You can also use red wine vinegar. You can use rice vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar. You can, whatever. I just had, this is what I have. It was like 99 cents on sale at the store, whatever. That's what I'm using. I use it for other stuff in the house. Boom. It is what it is. That's what I'm using, right? But you can use any type of vinegar as long as you're using that. It just kind of takes the edge off a little bit, right? And it's as simple as that. These are all the ingredients that I'm using. Again, you can just use this in water. You can use this, water, a splash of this, and some salt, right? But these are the elements. This is what we're using. Okay, so you'll see that I have my bowl on my scale. You do not need to use a scale. I am counting the amounts of protein that I have throughout the day, so that's what I'm doing. The ratios of this, it's actually pretty forgiving. What you're looking for is a certain texture and a certain feel when you make it, so it's absolutely unnecessary, right? And also, I mean, this is Merca, right? So we have the volume measurements along with the gram measurements for each serving size, right? So if you have measuring cups, just go by that and then move about your day. Okay. So for this brand, 30 grams is 24 grams of protein. We love that. So we're going to use 30 grams. I'm just going to make one serving, right? And because this is so easy, this is one of those where, I mean, if I have in my plan for the week, if I have a seitan dish that I'm going to have several times, okay, then I'll multiply the recipe, right? But if I'm just like, you know what, I just want a sandwich or stir fry and I'm going to use seitan, this is easy enough to just make one serving and then call it a day. All right, so we're going to turn this on. Why is that on ounces? If you can't tell, I don't like freedom units that much because it's like you could just be exact. If you're going to measure, why are we doing roundabout measurements? Like, just give me grams. Anyway. Okay, why did I get a tablespoon for this? This is so stupid. All right. Oh, look, we're almost there. Okay. Okay, 32 big whoop. It's not that serious. Okay, so we got 32. This I'll probably just use 10 maybe, I don't know. Okay, so that's about 10 grams. Okay, and this I'll just do 8 grams. I don't know, we'll see what happens here. Okay, that ended up being 5, but honestly, for one serving, that's definitely enough. Okay, that's definitely enough. All right. Okay, I only did all those measurements because y'all are looking at me. I normally just weigh this out, and sometimes the pea protein. If you want really good measurements, and then you just like, if you want a really good ratio for the main items, definitely go over to Plant-Based Dad's video, and you know, because he does this thing where he measures out everything and then tells you the full breakdown at the end, and I think that's pretty helpful for a lot of people, and that was definitely helpful for me when I was started on this journey. So love that. Wonderful. So I just mix it up so it's all incorporated. Okay, so I have some water. I'm going to toss a little bit of water in, and I want to make sure that I get all of this flavoring in. Maybe not all of it, actually, because this is going to be one serving. Lord, it might be a little, much, but we shall see. So that's about how much I put in. Okay, it's going to be hard for me to show you, but you start getting this clumpy situation going on. The other thing is, my friend, save yourself, save your equipment. Don't use metal. Do not use wood. Use a plastic spatula or just your hands, because it's good. It gets sticky, and then now you're going to have a party trying to get all of this stuff out. Okay, so we're mixing. Now we're going to add a little bit of water. You add a little bit at a time because you want it to just all come together. And actually, my issue is I've filmed seitan videos a million times. How many have you seen in this channel? 0, because I keep doing this problem, and then I have to like switch everything up and just add more, and it becomes a whole thing. So so I'm being super careful today. When it's cooking for just me, it doesn't matter, but you know, I got guests, so I'm trying to, you know, not too fancy, right? Because I'm trying to encourage you to do this because it's so easy and simple, but at the same time, I hope it's not making too much noise here. Okay, so that's what we got going on. Now for this one serving, so I think I had this up to, this is an 8-ounce cup. So, you know, I maybe use like 2 ounces, right? So now once it gets to this kind of crumbly, I don't know if you can even see that. It gets to this kind of crumbly, like it just all came together. Now you're gonna be, you know, just use your hands, get in there, right? Make sure that it's all incorporated. There's gonna be little bits, little dustiness at the bottom. Okay. And now you've ended up with something like this, okay? There may be some pieces that come off, okay? Now you've ended up with something like this. Now, I'm showing you in real time because there are a lot of videos out there that show you, oh, you gotta knead it to death, oh, don't knead it at all, da 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 da. I'm just showing you how quick and simple I do it. so that you don't feel like, oh, there's a million ways to fuck it up. There's not. There's really not, right? So, and I hope I'm not saying something stupid out here that I have to edit because I do want to show you real time, at least this part. Okay, now it's at this stage that you can make all the different shapes you want. You can do, if you need it more, right? If you really need it a lot, it will change the texture. It softens the gluten a little bit, so the gluten fibers kind of, just like, sorry for the vegans listening, just like tenderizing meat, right? It kind of just makes it more pliable, et cetera, et cetera. And that's great. I don't got time for that, right? If it's like a, you know, special meal and da-da-da-da, maybe. But I'm trying to get the food on my plate. You're trying to get the food on your plate. We don't have time, okay? And, you know, depending on the method that you're using to cook, like I said, there's a million videos out there. There's a million books. There's books on seitan. And it's something that has been in East Asian culture for centuries, not decades, right? We got impossible foods out here for like, what, maybe a decade or something, max. This is a protein that's been used for centuries. So I'm telling you, there's 1.5 million recipes and all sorts of science, right? But you don't have to, all right? This is the ugly part, right? Yes, I can make it nicer looking, but you know, again, I've mentioned before why I'm doing it like this. Okay. I'm just gonna have this little patty situation out here. Now, the quickest way to cook this, there's two really quick ways. You can pan fry it just to kind of sear it on both sides, and then have a longer cooking method after, such as, you know, boiling it for a half hour. You can put this in your oven and, you know, with a little bit of water, cover it, let it steam for 45 minutes. Like there's different ways of doing it. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to put it in the air fryer for like 350, 375 for less than 5 minutes, maybe like 4 minutes or something like that. What this does is that it helps set the shape a little bit. It obviously cooks it a little bit, but it helps set the shape without using any oil or anything like that, right? Because that's like added, you know, added calories and stuff that's not really going to help with the flavor and texture of what we got to do at the end of the day, right? To actually cook a meal. So we put it in the air fryer, 4 minutes, 350, right? Just to kind of have the shape set. Then we will simmer it in flavored water, right? So that's what I have here. This is literally like soy sauce and water or something. And then let that go for a half hour. That's all you need. If I took out all of my talking and yammering on, this part would have been max 5 minutes, right? 4 minutes in the air fryer, and then 30 minutes max boiling, right? I mean, come on, it's super quick. All right, I'm putting this in there just bare by itself. Okay, so while that is in the air fryer, I'm gonna get this to a rolling boil, maybe a little bit underneath that, with seitan. So you can just put it right in the water, skip that step, but it's gonna take you longer to cook it, right? What I would say, if you are doing that, because I understand, you know, sometimes time is not an issue, you just don't wanna be fussing with stuff for too long. And so if you just wanna do the kind of simmer or boil method, make sure that it's not boiling hot when you put in the seitan, because it tends to puff up, right? Just like a dough, right? That's what it is. So it will puff up, and then the shape is all crazy, and now you have kind of a spongy texture, which is edible. It's fine. I've been there, I've done that. It's totally fine. And actually there are some recipes that call for that sort of a texture, right? So it's totally fine if that happens. Don't throw it away, don't waste food. But if you don't want that, right? If you want something that's a little bit more dense, and a little bit kind of more like Western palate friendly maybe, then don't throw it into boiling water. You want it to be warm enough that it's cooking, but you don't want it to expand too quickly. I'm losing minutes, hold on. So the funny thing is, I had a whole talk about vinegar and how that's going to be helpful and how not everybody out here is doing that, and then I didn't put it in. Again, this is a very forgiving recipe, so it's totally fine. There may be a slight aftertaste, but guess what? I'm probably having it with some sort of sauce or something like that. What I will do, right now, it's an experiment. Now it's an experiment. What I will do is I'll throw in a dash of this into the broth that it's going to cook in, and we'll see what that does. Cool. Okay, so now that that's in there and we're all cleaned up, let's talk amongst ourselves for a moment. So the reason why I'm doing, oh wait, actually, let me just flex my Ember mug. The reason why I'm showing you a quick and dirty method for protein, right, for seitan, is because it's something that can make your meal prep so much simpler, so much easier. And it's something that is so quick that you don't even have to meal prep it. This is something that it'll take a half hour or 40 minutes or something like that. While that's cooking, you could be making your potatoes, you could be making your pasta or whatever else you're trying to have with it, right? You can be sauteing greens on the side, or you could do the entire meal in that time and have something on your plate that is wholesome, that's nutritious, that's going to increase the nutrient profile of your dinner, right? And it's so cheap these days. Vegan proteins are becoming more scarce and more expensive. We're seeing a lot of products flying off the shelves, and we need to get back to basics, right? Thank goodness, I say this all the time, I wish I'd become vegan sooner. That's just for me and how I'm enjoying the lifestyle, but I'm glad that I got in where I got in, right? So I became a vegan like 2015, 2014, in that winter there, and that was a time where you still had to kind of make your way a little bit. It was still this like DIY sense about making components of your meals. And not that that's completely gone, it's just much less, because we have things like Just Egg. We have things like Impossible, Beyond. Gardene's been around forever, but they have wildly improved all of their products, so that's a great one. Follow Your Heart, again, been around forever but wildly improved their product. Boca's been around forever but wildly improved their product. You hear what I'm saying, right? So at the time, there wasn't all of these multiple items. There were a few that were out there, but it was kind of like, oh, you had to go to a back alley in your dusty grocery store and find your stuff, right? It was much easier to figure out stuff and build your meals from scratch. That's what I'm trying to get us back to. And it seems like that's what they're trying to get us back to too, because I think because the vegan bubble has burst, that a lot of these like super big companies are having a hard time, and you're seeing less and less stuff in the stores now. So and also this is just healthier to make on your own, right? This is something that you can eat every single day. You know all the ingredients that are in it, and you can buy everything organic. Like, you can make this really wholesome and healthy. Whereas if you're buying Beyond for every meal of the week, if you're buying Impossible for every meal of the week, that can rake up as far as the sodium, that can rake up as far as the saturated fat. This right here basically has actually it doesn't, except for the little oil that was in the thing. And maybe if you're making us maybe if you're making a stir fry or something like that, although you don't have to use oil, but if you do, other than that, there's no fat in it, and there's certainly no saturated fat, right? So You know, if you're having that throughout the day, this could be one instance where it's going to reduce your overall intake because there's none in it. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, this is just an easy, simple way. And this is what I do. This is the types of decisions that I walk you through during the meal plan session. So if you want to have a meal plan session with me where we talk about the items that you like, we talk about how to combine those into wholesome meals that are going to help you reach your goals. We're going to talk about specifically what menu to make, right? How to make a whole menu out of your own choices and your own needs for the whole week, and how to replicate this over and over and over. If you want someone to walk you through that and talk with you about how to make this a sustainable lifestyle, the information is down below, and let's have a chat about it, right? You can do things like this that is going to make your life so much easier and so much quicker to reach your goals. All right, so I think we still have a few minutes left on the seitan. I'll probably have a clip later on of how I incorporate that into a meal. I'll probably make a stir fry out of this because I have a ton of bell peppers. So many bell peppers. I cut up 3 of them and I still have 3 left over, and bell peppers are one of those things that you don't realize how much of it you have until you cut them up and you're like, oh yeah, that's a lot of bell peppers. So it will be a stir fry most likely. So I'll make that. I'll show you. It'll probably be like a lunch or dinner situation. I'll come back and we'll see each other soon. Okay, bye. I almost forgot to show you the final product. So this is what it looks like after it's done. I've sliced it already, and you can see the texture inside. This will take up any sauce you give it. Any kind of cooking method is great. Right now I'm just gonna cut it up into somewhat smaller pieces and then put it in a soup. You can obviously use this for sandwiches and wraps. You can mince this and use it for pasta sauces, tacos, whatever. I mean, the world is your oyster with this. So yeah. Oh, and this is also really great in stir fries. So I would use exactly strips like this and then throw it in with some onions and peppers and broccoli and whatever else you want, and whatever sauce you want on it. And that's pretty much it. That is seitan.